Good morning, champions. Coach Tina here, and we are on day 2 of our From Procrastination to Desired Destination 3-day masterclass. I am so excited to welcome you into our masterclass community. And
good morning, champions.
Gotta love the delay. There we go. Woo, sound off. I hope you guys are in a great state this morning because we are going to cover some really fun material on procrastination. I'm one of the only people who can probably say that procrastination is fun to them, mostly because I am treating it like a friend. I am leaning in and not allowing procrastination to define me. Many of you know I joke about in this class that my name is in the word procrastination, but it's also in the word destination. And I believe if we focus mostly on the destination, that the procrastination can take care of itself. And we're going to prove that today by going into some really fun parts of my presentation. So I'm going to get started. If you're here live, go ahead and put #live and tell us what time it is where you're watching from. Maybe it's 7:30 in the morning like it is for me, but it could also be much later in the day. Perhaps you're watching it on a replay, and in that case, go ahead and put #replay. Love to know that you're here. Love to know that I am supporting you in your journey. This class is for women who are ready to take action to accomplish their dreams. And if you're like me, you have a dream in your heart and you know that you are meant for more, but you've been trying a bunch of stuff and nothing seems to take right. And so now we're digging deeper. We're figuring out what works for you, what steps you need to take. And the first step is awareness of what is causing you procrastination patterns in your life. Renee has joined us. Good morning, Renee. So happy that you're joining from Korea. I think that is so awesome. What we're covering today is the recipe for reality with a side of gratitude. And I do want to say this is my holiday edition on this course. So I offer every month, the beginning of the month, most months, I offer this masterclass on From Procrastination to Desired Destination. What information I provide during the days tends to be a little bit different. And so this is our holiday edition. And I'm doing it specifically because I want to remind you that this time of year goes really fast. And so depending on where you are in the world, you may or may not celebrate the holidays that we celebrate here in the United States. But I'm guessing that as the year accelerates, so does time for you. Things start to happen. There's celebrations, there's different requirements on you. And so I wanted to call to our attention how quickly this time period goes. And so October is important because we need to keep those holidays in mind, but also keep what's important to us in mind. And so I've added a little bit of a theme. In the United States, in October, we do Halloween. And so that first day was kind of fun on Halloween. The second day, we're focusing on our November holiday, which is Thanksgiving in the United States. In Canada, it's Boxing Day. In other areas of the world, I know there are different celebrations. And then day 3, we go into the Christmas or the winter holiday season. And so that's what tomorrow is going to be about. But today it's the recipe for reality with a side of gratitude. So if you'll put up with my little bit of silliness as we go through the slides, I'm doing it to just kind of have a different perspective, tweak, add some creativity on my part, and just really have some fun and enjoyment. So I see Margaret has joined us this morning. Good morning. Good morning. Stacy has joined us. And I'm just so happy that everybody is here and putting in their 2 cents into the comments. I finally figured out how to make Facebook where I can read it. So I'm super excited. So when we talk about procrastination, and I do want to point out, most images we have of procrastination, people are holding their head. So when you think about how you feel when you procrastinate, you probably have similar motions. You hold your head down, maybe up here, maybe like this. that stance leads us to know that we're dealing with something in the mind, right? Procrastination can be unconsciously triggered trauma. Something from your past is making it hard for you to move forward. And you really have to dig to figure that out. Yesterday, we covered some of the fears behind it. We looked at how to unwrap, unveil, look at those patterns. But I do want to recognize that almost everybody procrastinates. It is a common avoidance behavior, meaning that things we don't like to do, guess what? We tend to not want to do them. And so we have to actually create new behaviors that sit on top of the desire to run away from it, right? The fright or the flight tendencies in our body. We tend to avoid stuff because that's a natural thing. But when we have big dreams, when we have things we know we want to be working on and we're not, then we need to address, why is that happening? And sometimes it's just that we have unrelenting standards for ourselves. It's actually a coping mechanism that we put on ourselves where we're like, okay, if I adopt, let's just say I have to be perfect at everything I do, then that's an unrelenting standard. And because I know I'm not going to be perfect, we are human, then what that does is it causes us to not try. Because if we know we're going to fail before we start, why would we do that? And it becomes this pattern that we bump up against all the time because we've set our standards so high that we know we can't meet them. And that, of course, is terribly depleting on our energy. And so it spirals downward. But the good news is, if we have an awareness that this is what's going on, and we can start to see our procrastination for what it is, then we can come at it with tools. Then we can come at it with some ideas about how we can address it in a way that's going to work for us. And I am the first person to tell you that every one of us is different, and every one of us is going to have a different way we procrastinate and a different way that's going to work for us to overcome procrastination. But that awareness, that first key part, is so important. So how many of you show of in the comments procrastinate on something in your life? Probably going to see 100% of you saying yes. And if you have an awareness of why you procrastinate, go ahead and throw that in the comments as well. If it's something that's coming to mind where you're like, okay, I do, oops, we just went the wrong direction. I do see that. But here's something interesting to think about is it possible that this procrastination pattern in your life has actually been protecting you? That this is a self-protective mechanism that you have used in order to save yourself from pain, from frustration, from feeling less than, in an ironic way, right? Because usually when we procrastinate, we put off doing things that cause us to then have a negative thing happen to me. So procrastination, it is when we put off doing things that are going to benefit us in the long run. Now, maybe short term, there's something better that we can do, but in the long term, doing the thing that we want to do is what we want to do. So if you have something that you can see about the protection part of procrastination, put that in the comments of the ways that you see that it is true that procrastination could be protecting you. So Renee is saying she has old habits created by being inadequate due to medical limitations. Yes, many of you are dealing with health issues and from your past, and there is a huge fear on you that moving into something in the future might set off, like you won't be able to achieve it because of your health limitations. I have heard that story from many of you. And so it's so good that you're aware of it now, because while you can't control, maybe we can, that's a whole nother class, right? You can't control how your health is. You can control your attitude towards how your limitation is affecting you. And Margaret is saying it's protected her in that she can't fail if she doesn't do something. Yes. I'm glad you're seeing that, Margaret. That's really good. So when we procrastinate doing the thing that we want to do, it's also a way of beating ourselves up, right? So maybe we think we're not doing that to ourselves, but if that pattern is such that it reoccurs on a regular basis and then it takes you to a, a state like a depression or a state of overwhelm, you need to be thinking about that really in depth, because that is a key that's going to help you unlock whatever it is that's holding you back. Now, yesterday, we addressed procrastination and the things wrapped around it. But what I want you to do is now start thinking. We did our magic wand exercise at the end of the day, and we started thinking about all the goals and all the things that we do want to have. But one of the things we don't need to do is just get stuck in the level of pain that procrastination has caused us. Instead, we want to look at it on the benefit side and see about the gratitude that we could have for the fact that we do procrastinate. Help it to let you reflect on the progress that you have made in life, even with your procrastination. And be thankful for the steps that you've taken toward the goals that you have done in your life, even if you feel that they're so small. When we are people that have really big goals, it feels like it's going to take 1,000,000 years to get there. But the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step, right? So you have to be able to take those small steps. So gratitude is a great heart position. It takes you out of the head of overwhelm and puts you into the heart. And from the heart, what is the first organ that gets developed in our bodies when we're growing? It's our heart. The heart actually develops before the brain. So the heart actually has more knowledge, more wisdom, more intuition, insights than our brain. So what we want to do is, from an attitude of gratitude, look for solutions to the things that are going on with us. Because from that place, we will have a different experience. So I just want you to think of something in your life that you have delayed and there was a good benefit from it. And sometimes it's going to be really hard for us to see this because we want to beat ourselves up. We want to seek the negative. Whereas maybe it's just as simple as saying, before I wouldn't have been ready, and now I am. Now, with all of the information from my past, all of the experiences I've been through, now I'm ready to step into something new. Okay. And I do agree, probably you're a little tired of what procrastination has kept you from doing. Because the reality is life is like a cornucopia, right? Full of all the harvest, the results of our labor. It can be that because we have infinite possibilities for what we can do in this life. We are full of overflowing potential. And we can't have fulfillment unless we are reaching our true potential. And so I want you to really come at the problem of procrastination with a more positive light, with a gratitude sense. And from that, you're going to be able to really look at, wow, what is possible? So yesterday we talked about our dreams, all the things that we really wanted, the magic wand that would take away all of the levels of procrastination and put us into a what is possible? What can I do? What if I didn't have any constraints on money, on time, on educational background, on the age that I am? What would I want to do? What would I wave my magic wand and let have happen? Let's get into that place. Let's think about all the things that we are able to do from this moment forward. And if you have a dream or a goal that's coming to mind, that you would really like to have in your life, go ahead and drop it into the comments, because as you focus on that desired destination, that is what's going to give you the momentum. It's going to pull you towards it versus you trying to like push that rock up the hill. And so when you identify the things that you really want in life, that will allow you to set goals around it that really light you up. But we want to be cautious and not be unrealistically optimistic. We call it the pie in the sky hopes, right? We don't want our goals to be unreachable or so far in the distance that we can't make them real. We don't only want to daydream about success. We want to get in there and do those things. So there's a balance that has to be held between procrastination and the desired destination. There's that in between part, right? And so that's what we're really going to focus on today. That is our recipe for reality. And I said I was going to give you guys a worksheet. And guess what? I did not create that last night. This was going to be in addition to the workbook. So what I will do is I will make sure you guys have it. I ended up putting it into this PowerPoint. It's going to be, the next few slides are going to come at us kind of fast because I did one of those repetitive, like here's this, here's that, whatever. You can recreate this worksheet with just a piece of paper. So if you have the ability to go grab a piece of paper, any size, we are going to get started with the goal setting part of things, because with our dreams comes effort. We have to do the work to have the thing that we want. And so in order to have that recipe for what's going to work, we have to have the ingredients, right? And so this is what is going to be a thing that really helps us. And that is RPM. Okay. So like the turkey, we don't put the turkey looking like that on our plate for Thanksgiving. We don't just stick a pumpkin in front of everybody at the end of the night. There is stuff that has to be done in between the dream and making it to the thing that we want it to be. And so RPM is a process that Tony Robbins teaches that is called, I'm going to try to get this right, results focused, purpose-driven, massive action plan. Okay. You don't need to remember that. You can call it RPM. But with RPM, he wants us to throw away our to-do lists. And yesterday we talked about all of the things that we have on our list to do. Who would like to give up their to-do lists? Who would like to not have those little pieces of paper and notebooks full of things we never look at, and the stress of, I have so much to do, and we become human doings versus human beings, right? So what he is going to teach us, and I'm going to teach you very quickly one of the lessons that come with RPM, is to take that to-do list and make it into a more functional product that we can actually use. And by doing that, we're going to focus on that desired outcome, that destination in the future, right? But we're going to get in touch with the emotions behind it, the heart, right? Not up here in the head, the logical, write it all out, but up here in here in the heart is going to give us that emotion that is going to motivate us into action. We're going to use the 80-20 rule, which I will explain, the Pareto rule, as we get to the end, and we are going to schedule what we are doing. Okay, remember, you can always come back to the slide and do it in a slower viewpoint, because in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to go through this rather fast, but I think you're going to understand. So who's ready to learn about RPM? Margaret has shared her goal, by the way. She wants to feel like she's doing what she was put on earth to do. I hear you. I hear you so much. To share her love and creativity with others, to get paid for that, and that would help her to regain her freedom, both financially and otherwise. Love it, Margaret. Isn't that great clarity? You can really sit on that and do something with that. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So you didn't have to remember it, or I didn't have to. Results focused, purpose-driven, massive action plan. Okay. And you see the index card there. So I use an index card in a lot of stuff I do. It's as simple as that, but a piece of paper will work just fine. And on your piece of paper or your index card, you are going to think of one thing that is important for you to accomplish in the month of October. So we're going to take that instead of the pie in the sky. We know that we have our big dreams, but we are going to look at that dream and we are going to pick one thing that's going to get you closer to that dream during this month of October. So when you have that, we are going to go to the next step, which is really simple. In the center, you're going to draw a circle in the center of your index card. And inside of that, you are going to put your desired outcome, the goal for the 1 month. Now, when I did mine, I put in, this is going to be our result that we're looking for. And you can see I've kind of made 3 columns. When I did mine, I'm going to complete one of my certification programs that I'm in. Now, this is not an example of a really good goal. And I did it on purpose because I wanted to show you that this is not enough information to make me am I excited to complete something? Well, okay, I get the piece of paper. Probably not going to motivate me on the level that I'm looking for. But if I get more specific and I put in that because of getting the certification, I'm going to be certified as an RMT, which is Robbins-Madonna's training, Core 200 and Breakthrough Coach by 12/15, then it's giving me exactly what I'm going to do and when I'm going to do it by. Okay. So I'm using, there's a technique called a SMART goal. And this is it's achievable. It is specific, achievable. It's measurable that I can do it. It's realistic because I've given myself over 2 months. And it isn't that I need 2 months to do this. It's that when I looked at the calendar, I was like, if I'm not careful here, I've got a couple of conferences, I've got all these different things to do, and I could set the goal too early in my schedule. And even though it isn't going to require much time, I don't have an available time block until after I go to one of my conferences in Nashville. So this is realistic to me. And then you need a time attached to it. You need a deadline. A lot of us, especially, will procrastinate when we have self-defined deadlines. So we have to give it a date and then commit to that date. Remember my 4 levels of commitment training earlier on? The 4 levels of commitment, the first level, the top level is you have to say, I'm going to do this no matter what. You're going to be full in. There's going to be no excuses for why you don't do the thing that you're going to do. So that's our result. This is the thing that we are committed to doing. All right. Everybody with me so far? We have a goal. We have a piece of paper in the circle in the middle with the goal that we are going to work on. And at least it has a timestamp on it. Okay. When you're going to get it done by. Then what Tony Robbins does, and the 3 columns are really important. The one in the center is your focus. And then the one to the right, we are going to say, and this can be just bulleted things. How are you going to feel? There's going to be 3 things we write on here. So a couple of feelings, emotions related to how it's going to feel when you become whatever it is in that results column. Okay. So what emotions, what things are you going to feel? And then you're going to say, what will it mean to me when I complete this goal? What does it mean to me and to others, to my family? How are they going to feel in the second part? What is it going to mean to them if I become a core coach, right? Does this mean that I no longer have the insecurity behind I'm not qualified? Does it mean that I now can address some of the issues that come up with people that I'm not sure how to address because now I have the entire recipe guide for how to do that, the cookbook, if you will? Everybody's going to have a different meaning behind what the result means to them. But it's really important that you jot it down because this is going to be a huge reminder to you, right? And the next one is, oops, I went the wrong direction, is who do you get to become by achieving this result, right? The journey, the progress that we make when we work towards a goal that is actually better than the achievement at the end. It's that you learn a new set of skills, that you become more self-disciplined, that you like the habits that you're putting forward, that the energy that happens when you're in this result state, it creates new opportunities for you, right? So it becomes this amazing experience. And I want that for you guys. Okay. Vanessa is watching. So happy to have you, Vanessa. All right. So we have that column is actually our purpose column. Okay. So we have our results in the center. We have our purpose, and we have addressed the emotion behind it. And I want you to really get into it, right? Like amplify it, those feelings. Imagine yourself. We have our mountain moments, right? We're at the top of the mountain. We're in our victory pose, and we're feeling these emotions that maybe we haven't felt in a long time. So center them in you and imagine what that means. Imagine the outcome, the meaning to what it means when you have this thing, when you're the top salesperson, or when you're in the top 20 of the salespeople in your team, when you have the sales that you have been dreaming of, and you realize that your creativity is valuable. How does that feel to you? And who does it let you become? That identity shift, right? Where you're able to say, oh my goodness, I am an artisan. And when people ask you what you do, you're like, well, I sell personalized jewelry. You know what I mean? Like there's things that you can do to amplify that purpose, that I make people feel good by the things that they wear on their body, whatever it is for you. Okay. And then the last thing is the massive action plan. So this is what things, now this is where you kind of brainstorm in order to have this happen for you, the things to the right of this column. What are all the things that you can think of that you could do? And so this becomes your to-do list. You're going to write down all of the actions you could take that would give you that result or get you closer to that result. Okay, so for me, dedicate time to working on the project of this particular course is journaling, and I have to go back and look at some of my notes, put them into journal form so that I can show them the lessons. They have like questions that I have to answer, be ready for the test, that kind of thing. So those would all be actions that I could be taking. I could have 3 practice sessions with members of the community so that I can have that written off as things that I'm doing. So you have your massive action plan, okay? And I think that's the next step is you're going to have all these items, and you're just going to keep going as many as you can. You have the flip side of your paper if you need it. You can add, sub bullets if you know that you need multiple steps in your action plan. And you want to be as thorough as you can, but you don't want this to take forever. Okay. This is a couple of minute process. Obviously it's taking me longer to say it than it would take to do it. But what we want to do at a certain point is then we take the 80-20 rule, which from the list that you created, which is going to look a lot like your crazy to-do list, right? You're going to pick 2 to 3 of the items on that list that actually are going to move you closer to achieving your outcome. Just 2 or 3, because the 80-20 rule, the Pareto rule, you've heard it before, is that 20% of the things that we do are actually going to have the impact that more than 80 of the other things. If you had 100 things to do, 20 things would get you further than doing all 100 of them. And what happens is we get stuck in the 80s. Okay. So just letting you know that that is something that you want to not have happen in your life, right? You want to just pick 2 or 3 of the biggest items and work on those. Get your energy from those. Get the results from doing those things. Okay. Vanessa is giving she would like to encourage and uplift people through her passion of cooking food. I love that. Selling it while pursuing her purpose and being awareness and being love and light to others. And you're already doing a lot of that, Vanessa. Don't be so hard on yourself. I see your light. I see your posts. I see the things that you're doing out there in the world. But hopefully this RPM process will be helpful to you. And you can do these, you can get multiple index cards, right? And think about all of your outcomes and do these. You can even, and I'm not sure what slide I put next, so let me grab it. Okay. Yeah. So pick 2 or 3 outcomes that you are looking for and start there. You can do many more cards and so on, have different areas of your life that you're addressing this. There could be one, we talked about the 7 F's, right? You can do it in your finances. You can do it in your fitness. You can do it in your family relationship goals, in your job goals, your passion, the business that you run that you love, your faith goals, your friends, and your fun goals. Okay. What is it you want? What are things that you can do? And then you have those for you. When we start to do our 3 things a day, you can be looking at your cards and be like, you know what? This would move me closer. And I can take this card out, put it in the front of the stack, and work on those things. Okay. Remember to attach as high emotion to that as possible. And don't forget those personas, the superpowers we've done in past trainings, where you assume a pose and say yes, yes, yes to the person inside of you that is really good at doing what it is you can do. So, Margaret, you're coming to mind with Craftalicious. Okay. Craftalicious can do the amazing things that she needs to do to get you to the next level. So when she looks at that outcome and sees what it is that she can do for you, let her work on the massive action plans, right? Let her energy guide you into doing the things that will be exciting. All right, you guys, the next step is to make it real. Only having it on paper, only having it even in your head, just like our to-do list, will not make it real. What you have to do is schedule the action that you will take to do it today. Do it and report back to it, and report back on that you got it done in this post, okay? So you schedule an action that you're going to take today from your card. And it might be step 1 of the action, but that's okay, right? The momentum is what we're looking for. So you got to do it, and you got to report back on this post that you did it. That's going to be the homework for today, okay? And so if you do not have VIP access yet, then I'm going to give you the link in just a minute. VIP access gives you access to the workbook. And the only thing I want to say to those of you that are in the workbook is the visualization exercise, like we did last month, is going to be tomorrow. So don't miss tomorrow. It's going to be really amazing. But there's also the survey link in there that gives me more information about your level of procrastination, the things that you have going on in your life. So if you want to upgrade to VIP, please do. I would love to have you. There's a Q&A session still tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 my time, which is Central. And you can jump on. We do the Zoom and we work on whatever questions you have regarding this masterclass. And then don't forget, we have a weekend workshop where we do the deep dive. So VIP allows you to have a hot seat with me, and that is being held in the group setting on the 14th at 11 a.m. Eastern. But for those of you that maybe are watching this from a different time period or can't come on that day because of different commitments, please know that as a VIP, I honor that you get the hot seat, and you will get it at a different time than I can, that we can schedule together. So the hot seat is yours with the VIP, and that is a very reasonable upgrade if you want it. And then tomorrow we'll be doing the gift of kissing procrastination goodbye. Obviously, we're going to be true to our holiday theme. Tomorrow we are going into the Christmas holiday. So homework, what is your biggest insight from today? Put that right now into the comments for me. And for VIP, don't forget to go through the workbook, try to do your deep dive in the questions that are there. And I'm always available for you here. The link to get registered for this class so you get notified, don't miss tomorrow, is coachtina.live/masterclass. All right, you guys, I love you. I want the best for you. I'm really excited that we are getting to do this work together. And I'm going to switch out of presentation mode. All right, I wish you guys the best day, the best evening. Don't forget to put your insights from this session into the comments so that everybody will get notified that this is a class that has value and information for them. And have a really great day. Hope to see you in the Q&A later tonight. Take care.